So let's talk about mail-in ballots. So there's been a lot of information, and I'm going to really be very careful about my language here because of some of the information that the Attorney General has put out. I'm putting on kind of my, former reporter hat and just letting you know very clearly about what we know at this point. Okay, so as of April 17th, we had Travis County Judge Tim Sulak have a ruling. And he ruled that any voter who votes, and I'm going to quote his ruling, in person while the virus that causes COVID-19 is still in general circulation presents a likelihood of injuring their health. So if you could be injured by going to the polls, that's what he's saying, you are entitled to apply for mail-in ballot under the disability provision. Now remember, our state law does limit who can apply for a mail-in ballot. There's 4 provisions. You have to be disabled. You have to be 65 or over in age. You have to potentially be in jail but not have lost your voting rights, or you need to be out of the county of voting for longer than the early vote period. So if you have an extended travel situation, if you are a college student who is going to be out of the county, you can then apply for a mail-in ballot. What the judge has said on the 17th is that he's expanding the disability provision, or he's interpreting the existing disability provision to incorporate the possibility of getting sick from COVID. That's what it's saying. So that was his ruling on the 17th. The reason I wanted Glenn, oh, Glenn's here, hooray. Yay, your timing is perfect, Glenn. So that is what the ruling was. This week we got a follow-up letter from our Attorney General. And this is the quote from him, and I'm just gonna read it. Mail-in ballots based on disability are specifically reserved for those who are legitimately ill and cannot vote in person without assistance or jeopardizing their health. He said in a statement, the integrity of our democratic election process must be maintained and law established by our legislature must be followed consistently. My office will continue to defend the integrity of Texas election laws. I'm not being sarcastic at all. Okay, so with that set up, I want to turn it over to Glenn to kind of take us to the next level. What's happened since we heard that? We're going to be very careful in not telling you what to do, but we're going to just try to give you some information and really focusing on that July runoff. So Glenn, are you here? Can you?
I'm here.
You're fantastic. What's going on?
So since Judge Sulak issued his order, the state of Texas Attorney General's office has appealed to the Third Court of Appeals. The Third Court has ordered that all the documents be turned over to them within 2 weeks. That has happened. The Third Court, a Democratic majority court, has not issued a stay. The court order is still in place. The Attorney General's or Solicitor General of the state of Texas made an email suggestion to our attorneys that the mere act of them appealing stayed the order. Well, any first-year law student knows that's not true. The Third Court would have to issue a stay. There's no automatic stays in law. So the court order is in effect. Since then, the Attorney General has made a couple of statements and news releases and then issued an opinion, he said, not a typical opinion that there was a request from an elected official to interpret a law, but he just issued an opinion. And that's exactly what it is. It's Ken Paxton's kitchen table opinion. It has no force of law. So let me just go back for those who've read the Constitution in Texas. The Attorney General issues opinions between legislative sessions when there is needs to be clarity in what a law means. And his opinions tell us what the law means until a court issues an order. Judges, when they issue an order, actually tell us exactly what the law means. Judge Sulak, has told us what the law means. That has not been overturned by a higher court. Kim Paxton in after the fact and saying, this is my opinion, is it. And I say to Kim Paxton, but a stump. Secondly, he made a threat that people might be prosecuted for following a district judge's order. That also is bullshit. And I'll use that term very clearly. If he wishes to prosecute someone under this law, he's going to have to prosecute tens of thousands of people, because tens of thousands of people are going to ask for ballots to vote by mail under this court order. Now, the Secretary of State has issued some, let's just say, wishy-washy advice that says voters should follow their local county clerk's interpretation of the law and court orders. We know across Texas that clerks and election administrators who are the early voting clerks in many, many counties are publicly publishing that they are following the court order, accepting ballots from anyone, mail ballot requests from anyone. There are many other election administrators and clerks who haven't made any public statement, but know that if by 10-year, 20-year practice SOS rulings, if they get an application that disability is marked, that they cannot ask the reason of the disability. They can't say, are you blind? Are you deaf? Are you immobile? Or are you, do you have an infectious disease? Or are you, is your medical condition being healthy and that you are social distancing because going to a polling place could put you at risk? They cannot ask what the disability is. So it is my belief that almost every clerk in Texas is processing whatever application they get with disability marked. Now, knowing that we will have now uneven, perhaps, interpretation of a judge's ruling, which is a state district judge who's made it enforceable statewide because the Attorney General interceded in this case. But to get clarity, the Texas Democratic Party has moved this suit as a federal lawsuit under the 14th, the 26th, and the First Amendment, including the First Amendment right for Glenn Maxey to tell anybody who's social distancing that they can get a ballot. There, I said it publicly. If Mr. Paxton, you want to prosecute, I've got First Amendment rights. There's no First Amendment right any clearer than telling somebody that they can cast a ballot. So we have a federal suit filed a week ago, or almost a week ago. And we will have a hearing on that, I expect, in the next couple of weeks. It's in San Antonio court with Judge Fred Beery. Judge Beery is a longtime progressive Democrat who was elected or appointed to the federal bench by Bill Clinton. And so he will make a ruling that will be a statewide ruling under federal law that perhaps will put everybody to ease. And we expect to have that within plenty of time for people who are hesitant to have time to ask for a ballot before the June 14th runoff election. So a lot of drama. You can download a vote by mail application on the TDP website.
Do you guys see that? I just brought it up. Do you guys see the TDP website?
You can, I will post a link in a second. I don't when I try to do this, I sometimes cut off my camera. So
Yeah, no, it's fine. I've got it up. And so basically, if you go to this website, I just shared out. Oops, I shared it to somebody privately. If you go to that website, that's what I'm showing you guys. It's very simple. This fill out a vote by mail application, if you click on that, it takes you to a form. And Lori Iserloh made an excellent point. If you are 65 plus, please do this today. Do this today. And it's very simple. I filled it out, fill it out, you click the one of the 4 criteria, and then you have, and I'm going to show you this because I filled it out just to show you guys. You have this preview. Do you see the preview? And it's like a letter. It's really simple. And it says, hey, this is what I'm, submitting as. You sign it, you date it, and you send it to the clerk. And
when you do this anywhere in Texas, when you put in your county, it's going to give you the instructions going to your county clerk. So you can tell your mom over in Bear County and your aunt over in Parker County, and they will get the correct application. There's also a second link that anybody who doesn't have a printer can download, and we'll have that posted soon everywhere. And I mean, fill out the information that comes to us, and then we print out an application, send it to the voter with an addressed envelope, so that if they don't have a printer at home, they can have us send them a pre-filled application. We're urging people, don't send people to the Secretary of State's website for that complex form that does all 4 reasons, because if the senior doesn't, or the voter does not check annual and Democratic primary, runoff, and there's a lot of check boxes. And if you miss the annual one, you'll get the Democratic runoff, but you won't get the November ballot. So the number one thing, if you're doing it on a SOS form or you're just writing a handwritten note, you got to say your name, your address, where you want the ballot to be sent, and the date of the elections. Or if you write annual, and people who are over 65 or people who are doing disability for any reason can put annual on it, and it will get the runoff election and the November election and any runoff elections that are local on the November ballot.
So we have a few really rapid fire questions here that we're just going to quickly go over. Some of them I know the answer to, some of them you may have more information for us. Can you mail multiple forms together? I've done it successfully. I say yes.
Yes, if you print out a form, and we have some very simple ones for disabled and seniors that have Dana's address at the top. It's an 8.5 by 11. You can print 100 of these. You can walk down your street and get 100 people, or if you were able to visit a senior center or be at anywhere, and just say, fill out a vote by mail application. You can collect 100 of them. You can put them in a brown envelope. You can send them to Dana. The only thing is, they're in the bottom corner of these applications, there's a place for assistant. So if you collect them and mail them for people that are not related to you or not in your home, I mean, husband, wife, do it for your parents, all of those kinds of things, you can just do those without filling in the assistant and put them all in the same envelope. If they're in the same residence or you're related to them as parents or brother, siblings or whatever. But if you're just going down the street, if we were able to do that and collect up 100 of them, you must mail them in. This is a really quirky thing in state law. If you're a deputy voter registrar and you get voter registration applications, you must take them in and hand them to Bruce Elfont. However, if you fill out 100 vote by mail applications, you don't need to be deputized. You just need to put your name in that assistance box at the bottom, and you must mail them. You cannot drop them off. So as we get to, let's just say that we go forward with this and we have a final ruling, expect the Texas Democratic Party the DCCC, the DSCC, and the Biden campaign to send an application to every Democrat in Texas. There will be plenty of money to do that. So just know that by, maybe not for the primary, because we might not be all the way through the courts, but if we get a federal court ruling that anybody can vote by mail, or the Congress passes something, when that happens, there will be enough money to send one to several, 10 million Texans. So never fear that the party and the campaigns candidates will make that happen statewide.
So I just also shared out this information sheet that a couple of our precinct chairs put together, and we got some help on that, just making sure that the vote by mail system, everybody understands it. There's a lot of your questions are answered in this document. Goes through a lot of that stuff about college and pro tips about signatures and all that good stuff. So use this, and then if there are questions that we haven't answered, we can get those answers for you and combine them in this document. So Glenn, do you want to quickly tell us about the state convention?
Sure.
Move on.
State convention, all online. We're in the process now of everybody who is a delegate updating their list. We're putting out an email this week. We'll have lots of caucus meetings, and because not everybody got to register to vote in caucus elections, everybody's going to be asked whether they want to join the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the LGBT Caucus. So we'll have that opportunity from now to May 15th. Anybody who's running for national delegate, or any committees or state executive committee or presidential elector, has till May 15th to register on our website, texasdemocraticconvention.com. The elections for all of these offices will happen over a 2-week period from May 15th to June the 1st. All our standing committees meetings will be Zoom meetings where the general public can watch what happens. All of our caucuses, and they're going to be great this year because they're going to have panel discussions and trainings and issue caucuses and all of the groups of the state. They will be published on Monday through Thursday of convention week. All of those caucuses and trainings and panel discussions will happen. It's going to be sort of a Trib Fest, South by Southwest kind of experience of a Democratic convention. And then on Friday and Saturday, the traditional days, June 5th and 6th, we'll have all of our national speakers. Nancy Pelosi will address the convention. All of it will be live streamed to both delegates and the public, so any Texan will be able to watch. We've got some other big news that we can't announce yet of people who will be speaking, but it'll be a fun week. So you don't have to watch Netflix the first week of June. You'll have politics out your ears.
Yay, awesome. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for jumping in here and kind of showing us the ropes on vote by mail. It's always great to hear what's updated. And then we should just watch for that federal case coming up. You think it's going to be this week?
Well, it's filed, and you asked for the hearing, and it's federal court. You don't know how long it will take. So we believe that the judge, and the federal things are never quick, but we think that sometime in the coming 2 weeks or so, he will post the time of the hearing. Then there will be a state hearing. I'm having so much fun with this stuff. I have the Texas Democratic Party now has 8 federal lawsuits plus the state lawsuits. So I've been now a witness in a case, and I'm the official representative of the state party in all 8 of these cases. So I'm doing 4 or 5 hour depositions for each one of them.
We should all have so much fun.
being interrogated by Ken Paxton's AGs, assistant AGs in these depositions is so much fun. And I have gotten to be pretty expert after my first two on how to answer the question, nothing but the question, so help me God, and not get tied up in all of their picky, ask, trip you up kind of questions.
Right.
So it's been great fun. I wish they could be public because they are really fun.
All right. Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate your help with this. And we'll be talking soon, I'm sure.
I'm building my chicken coop in planting a garden, so I'm back outside for that.
Oh, good.
It was late.
All right. Thank you again.